Well, hello and welcome back. Thanks for coming back. Early morning on the island of love. Sun is shining, the skies are blue. I'm dressed head to toe in blue. Quite a few blue cars as well. Come on, let's go and have a look around some of them and give you my opinion on them and what I think of them. This is one of those Hyundai Tucsans, and I think it's quite a nice looking car, and it's in blue, which is always a good thing, isn't it? So what's wrong with it? Do you want to know what's wrong with it? If we come to the back, unfortunately for the lady that owned it, she backed into her garage and her husband had left something, and she did that. A little dink in the back there. Not bad, but of course it's her pride and joy, and it's annoying her a lot. So there's a little dink in there, so we've got to take the badge off, obviously. We'll have to pull it out a little bit of filler, and then paint the rear hatch, but we'll have to blend into the rear bumper and the bumper on that side as well. And a lot of people ask us, why have you got to blend? You know, they say, why can't you just paint that piece? You can, but the problem is that when you do, that piece won't match that piece, obviously the lower part of that piece and that piece. So the way to do it is you paint there and then you blend that little bit in to make sure that the colour from there is the same. You can't keep going too far, otherwise you've got to keep going. But it's an art of just blending in to make sure that it all matches. And it's not to do with the person that's painting, it's to do with all sorts of things like atmosphere. Believe it or not, the factories run out of paint and then they start painting with different colour blues. You might find two of these parts in a car park one day that look slightly different, and that's the reason. And of course these new colours with all these pearlies in them make it that little bit more difficult. Anyway, talking about blue cars, there's another one. And this is one of my favourite cars because this is a Honda. And again, unfortunate, it's a lady, and I don't like saying that all the time, by the way, but it's a lady that, not her fault, but someone sideswiped her. And it starts off just down here quite gently, as we can see. They clipped a mirror and they've broken the indicator part of it. And if we start to look carefully, we can see then the greys all along the door and into the rear wing as well. So quite a nasty little graze. Luckily, there's actually very little panel damage, which is good. Otherwise, with all these shapes and curves, we would need to get a new door, but we're confident that we can make this like new. Obviously, we're going to paint the whole side. Again, as I've just mentioned, we'll blend into that bumper and blend into that rear wing. And I think there's some more damage on this side. Yes, there is, which she did herself, but she's going to pay us. That's insurance, and she's going to pay us for this bit. This is where she caught herself on a wall. And she has, I mean, she's kept, this line is still there. That line is there. The actual line there has got a slight indentation, and that's the actual real crease. But we can pull some of that and a little bit of filler and make it right. And again, we'll blend into the front door and blend into the rear wing and the bumper because there's not that much room for the blend. But this is a fabulous car. If you're looking for that mid-size sort of jacked up SUV-ish kind of car, Honda HR-V could be that perfect car for you. Again, in a nice shade of blue, but a cracking car, and of course very, very reliable. Shall we go into the body shop? We'll have a look out here a bit more because there are a few cars. We've got them stacked up, and some of the cars are in process, if you understand. Let's go and have a look at this one. So this is a Suzuki Jimmy, not Jimmy, Vitara, isn't it? This is the Mark II generation of Vitara 3-door, very popular car. He had a crease in his door, a little bit of damage on the back, so this is primer. I understand the camera perhaps can't pick it up, but we're going from silver to primer there. There was a bit of a crease in there, so that's had its second coat of primer. That'll be sanded down. We're pretty happy with that, to be honest. That looks very smooth, good connection to the rear wing where the didn't continued. Yeah, that's looking good. So again, we'll paint the whole side of the car, blend into the bumper and blend into the back. Very good cars, very, very reliable, very, very robust car as well. The only problem with it is it's a bit archaic. It's a car from what? Well, it's when Suzuki was transitioning into these modernish cars. This is a retro style four-wheel drive, proper four-wheel drive, and it's got a proper lock-in diff, so you can select four-wheel drive on the fly, as they say, and then there is the low range. So if you do get yourself stuck in a field or something, that car will probably get you home, as opposed to some of these new ones, isn't it? So that's an old style, jacked up, four-wheel drive, which has got four-wheel drive. Anyway, come on, let's go and have a look over here, because I've got a car over here that I like, and it's a Mazda. So come and have a look at it. I'm into saloon cars. I'm one of these weirdos. Yeah, I don't really like jacked up four-wheel drives, but I do like saloon cars. Now, in the UK, I don't think they make it anymore, but this is what they call the Mazda 6. And it's quite a big saloon car. When we start to look at its rear door, we understand that it's got quite a lot of room inside. And every time I've ever driven one of these, I always think they're quite a nice car. The only thing that lets it down is its engine, because it's only got like a 1.5 engine with a, yeah, whatever. But it is a nice car. And this one's come from Japan. So this one is called Antenza. Probably sounds better than Mazda 6, to be honest. But I think it's a good looking car. What's wrong with it? There you go. That's what happened. Gentleman that owns it backed onto some kind of little wall, and it put a big indentation in there. Luckily for him, he hasn't broken that indicator. So we're going to take the bumper off. We will heat it up and push it out, plastic welded on the inside, a little skimmer filler, obviously paint the bumper, paint the lower part, and again, guess what, because it's pearl white, we will blend into that wing and of course the wing on that side. But I think that's a lovely looking car, I really, really do. Drop in the comments, what do you think of the Mazda 6? I think it's got just enough length, and it's got a bit of curvaceousness, hasn't it? Very attractive looking car indeed. And of course, because it's a Mazda all the way from Japan, very, very reliable. Another great little car, come and have a look at this one. This one is a Suzuki Swift. And this one has had a little bit of a, well, altercation, shall we say, with a curb, and knocked 7 bells out of his front bumper. And then on another occasion, which is the reason why it's now come into us, someone hit him. And we can see there's quite a big indentation in his front wing. But luckily, because we're on the island of love, we will repair all this. If this was in the UK, this car would be a write-off instantly. Why? They'd be going to fit a wing, which they would probably be billed at about 300, a bumper about 300. They'd probably say the light has moved, the bonnet has moved, then they'd add in the hire carring and all those kind of things. So the bill to the insurance company for that kind of damage would probably be about £2,500. Car in the UK is not even worth £2,000, so they just write it off. But in Cyprus, we will pull it all out, get a bit of filler on it, straighten that up, realign the lights, paint it, and we'll bill the insurance company around about €600, so they'll be happy with that. That's how it works. Right, come on, let's go and have a look. Let's get into the main event, as we say, and see what projects we've got on the go. And those of you who follow the channel might recognise one or two. So let's go and have a look, and let's see. You see, this one has now moved its way from outside to inside. So let's have a look at the damage on it. Have we done anything? The answer to that question is no, not yet. But the fact that it's in the workshop now means that we're going to start to take it apart and we're going to start to fix it. And like I say, the front bumper, it does look very bad, but we are going to dismount it, straighten it all out, plastic weld it, and with the aid of filler and those kind of things and epoxy resins, we'll make that bumper like new. Luckily for the gentleman, all the chromes and the spotlights are intact. Luckily, his front light's not broken, which is a good sign. So we're going to refurb the front of it. He's got us a new wing, so we'll be putting that on. We'll repair the bump bonnet, and we'll repair the overrider. We'll repair the actual A-pillar where all these dints are. And then he got us this door, which is now on the car, as we can see. Yeah. So this is what we've done to it so far. This was all creased and battered around, if you understand. This is a second-hand door. A little bit of a crease there, but we'll straighten that out. As we come down the side, we've started to do some bits and bobs, because again, there's a major impact in there, but we will fix it slowly but surely. And there's the old door inside, if you want to have a look. If you remember, and there's a massive gash down the side of it. So something untoward happened to this car in the UK. Obviously it was written off and then bought by a gentleman and shipped to Cyprus. Big crease in the rear wing as well. Luckily for him, his rear light is intact, because these things cost money, and of course it's difficult to get hold of a lot of them. So it's had a massive impact, there's no doubt about that. But we'll pull all that out, get some filler on it. We'll pull all that out, because you can't just put a new one on and slowly but surely fix it. This detaches this piece, by the way, from the actual wing, so that's not so much of a problem. We'll work in there. This door, it's got a bit of a ripple down there, but we'll be pulling and making sure it's right. That door's on. New wings come. Slowly but surely, keep watching, another week or so, that car will be like new. Now, I remember this car in a video a week ago or so. It was out the front, a black Honda. A gentleman had bought it from Japan, and even with the VAT and the import duty, it still worked out at about 3,000, 4,000 euros cheaper than in buying one in Cyprus. And if you remember, it had a door that was damaged. So we've repaired the front wing where the door was catching it, and there was a bit of a crease down there. We've repaired the little bit of damage on the back wing, and we've got a door. So we're going to paint those. Door will be painted separately, but at the same time, so the colour is the same, and then all put back together. 3 or 4 days, that car will be whizzing around on the roads in downtown Cyprus. And it is a fabulous, fabulous car. That's the latest incarnation of the Honda Jazz. And as I always say, if it's got one of them on the front, which is a H, and this one's got the blue, so it's a hybrid as well, you're not going to go far wrong. A Honda, a Toyota, of course, or a Lexus, most reliable cars in the world. And that's in a nice colour, black. Let's keep going, see what else we've got. Do you remember this little car from last week? And this is a nightmare of a colour. But if we come round, we can see that Abdullah, the man with a smile on his face, come and get him, he's got a smile on his face, is working like crazy. Because there was a bit of damage in here and there was something up there. But slowly but surely, we've brought it back into the correct shape. That's the primer. He's sanding it down. Are we painting this today? Today. What do you think of the colour?
The colour is good.
You like it?
I like it.
It's a bad colour to match though, isn't it?
Red, blue.
But it's a nice colour. Yeah. It's a nice colour. Candy colour. Abdullah says it's candy colour and he fancies a bit of candy. Hardest working man in the body shop, by the way. Always got a smile from morning until night. Yes. Because you love your job, don't you? Yes. See, he loves his job. Come on, let's go and have a look and see what else we've got. We've got another one of my favourite cars. And this is a Honda HR-V Mark I. This is one of the first cars, should we say, to start the craze for SUVs. Came out in 1998. This one, I believe, is a second gen. Yep. So this is an 04 car. What's it having done? Well, in Cyprus, the heat cooks the paint, so the bonnet's off. We're doing the bonnet. Hopefully the roof we can polish up, but I don't think so. There's a little bit of sun damage along here as well. So it's been cooked a bit, and a bit of damage on the mirror, wobbling around. Quite common on these kind of cars. Yeah, it's wobbling like crazy. So we'll find a way to mount it. Nice colour actually, dark grey metallic. Quite in vogue, isn't it? And just in case you didn't know it was a HR-V, the gentleman that owns it decided to go around it and put HR-V stickers everywhere, because he wanted everyone to know that this is the Honda retirement vehicle. That's what it's called in Cyprus anyway. And it's a pretty good car, except for that little bit of sun damage. But of course, that's something that happens on the Island of Love. Now, if we have a look inside it, it's a great car, by the way. It really is. And like I say, this one has been owned by the same gentleman from brand new, which is not unusual in Cyprus, by the way, when people buy a Honda or a Toyota. They often do keep them for 15 or longer years. And the reason for that is because, of course, they don't break down. It's that simple. They may go off and buy another car, but they keep this car. It's got a little bit of wear in the steering wheel, but I think it's done 200,000 kilometers now, so 120,000 miles. The biggest fault with this car, by the way, is actually its gearbox. It's got a CVT gearbox, a small cog, a big cog, and a belt, and the teeth wear on the little plastic cogs. But this one, because it's been serviced regularly and owned by the same guy from new, gearbox doesn't slip. It can go like that, by the way, but at the moment it doesn't slip. And that's why he's decided to spend a little bit of money on it, because he says it's a car that owes him nothing and it's starting to go a little bit shabby. So great car. I love them. I absolutely love them. I've bought and sold many of these, and no one has ever been unhappy with a Honda HR-V. Let's go and have a look in the sunshine, shall we? Now, I featured this car a couple of weeks ago, and this car is a Mitsubishi Lancer, and if you remember, it was, well, if you look carefully, you can see the original colour, there it is, but there wasn't much of that colour left, this rosy candy colour, as Abdullah would call it, because it was all flaking off, because this car had been parked in the sun from 2007 every single day of its life, but it's never let the man down. So he decided, rather than go and buy a new car, he only uses it as a holiday car, to spend a couple of bob on having it painted. There's the odd little dink here and there, but we've done all the dinks. We're happy with it now. It's now in primer, so tomorrow it's going to all be sanded down, and tomorrow it's going to go into the spray booth. So this car is going to have a full respray. So don't forget to come back for the next little episode, because I'll take you on a grand tour of it and show you just how nice a car can be once it's been resprayed. And I do think it's a nice car, by the way. Very practical car, nice big four-door saloon, plenty of room in the boot, not the quickest thing in the world, automatic gearbox, smooth, cruises around, handles all the undulations and all those kind of things quite well. So a nice car. One final car, we'll have a look at this one, and then we'll say thank you very much for watching. This one is a Nissan Note. Unfortunately, this one hit a little wall, or should we say the gentleman driving it hit a little wall, pushed the bumper in, creased the rear wing. Luckily, didn't break his light. So bumper off, get the bracket out, get behind it, and as we understand, Hassan will start pulling and whacking and pulling and whacking. He'll get it as straight as we can, a little bit of filler, we'll check the fit, get it all back together, primer it, get it in the booth and get it painted, and bring it back to its former glory. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. If you like what you see, please hit the like, smash that subscribe, doesn't cost you a single penny, by the way, and don't forget to keep on coming back for that little bit more of my madness as I take you on my travels, buying cars, selling cars, repairing cars. If there's something you'd like us to do, you drop it in the comments, and you never know, that video may be coming very soon, especially for you. Thanks for watching. I look forward to your company again very soon indeed.